Matt, welcome back to the show. Obviously, I know you're someone who backs Arteta. What's your view on what's being said here by the boys and by Tom?
Look, I think on this season, it's obviously not been the best start. And I think in this instance, you do have to apply a lot of context into it. We've had a lot of injuries. We've had 10 men for 3 games. This isn't excuses. I'm just putting it into context because this season has been a poor season by probably the majority of players. But we are only a couple of points behind Man City, and I do think Liverpool, that drop off will come. It's just a matter of when, really, because this is literally the same players that they had last season, and they stumbled at around April time because they couldn't handle the fitness and whatnot, because they burnt out and whatnot. So I am waiting along that sort of schedule time. But in terms of right now, I think with Mikel Arteta, this Arteta in, Arteta out stuff, it is just complete BS, like you said, Terry, because it's literally irrelevant now. It is literally irrelevant because both sides have been proven wrong. Both sides have been proven wrong in that the Arteta inners, look, he hasn't won a trophy yet, right? But the Arteta outers, I don't understand that, because at the end of the day, both sides know that the manager will be here in the next 3 years. Both sides know, because the owners are happy with him.
Sorry. So can I ask a question? So if he doesn't win anything this season, would you be happy with him?
It depends on what happens on, do we do well in the Champions League, and are we in a title race? Because if both of those happen and we don't win any trophies, I'm willing to give him another season or two.
If you finish in the top 4, though,
if he finishes in the top 4,
well, yeah, you give him another season, because if he drops out of that and doesn't win it,
if he drops out of the top 4
and doesn't win anything,
not win a trophy, and does shit in the Champions League, then there is serious questions.
Okay.
And exactly. My question would be on the alternative on, is there a manager that can get us over the line? And that's always been my question.
There is, though, and
there is literally managers out there.
There are managers out there, and I think this is where it comes. This is what I mean by the Arteta in, Arteta out debate is dead. And I'm not talking about people that are now, like the boys have just done on here. I'm not talking about Tom or anybody else saying if he doesn't win this season, he should go. Right? I'm talking about the old debate that's dragged on for 4 or 5 years. I'm right. No, I'm right. No, I said this right. You're all wrong. You're all wrong, because you can't, like someone can make 1,000 predictions about what's going to happen in the future and get 3 right. That doesn't fucking make them a fortune teller. They're just basically guessing a load of shit and hoping some of it comes true, right? Because so much has been wrong by both sides. However, that's why I think the conversation has to evolve, has to mature, and move away from, I was right, I was wrong, you got this right. Yeah, but I did get this one correct. Yeah, but you didn't get this one right. It needs to go on to what is best for Arsenal. And this is what I say to the Arteta inners. The idea that there are no head coaches in world football that can get you over the line or make you better, I think is ridiculous. Because what you're essentially saying is that barring Pep, Arteta is the second best manager in the world, and I don't think he is at this particular. Maybe he will be in the future, but I wouldn't say he is now. And
you're talking about replacing a rookie. That's what you're talking about replacing.
And this is where Arsenal fans need to remember: you're Arsenal Football Club. You're not Arteta Football Club. As great as I think he's done to rebuild you to this point, and everyone always takes the mick out of me, and I don't really care in the reality about when I said Arsenal was scary. Go back and watch those videos. Some of you may remember. I know Jason does. He watches my stuff. I said it's scary because I think with what you've built, you're either going to win with Arteta or replace him and win with the person who comes in. It was never about, oh my God, look what Arteta's done. Arteta's made them amazing, but they won't be able to do it without him. That's never been the rhetoric. And I believe that in that even more now. So I just think that you guys have got to look at that bigger picture here. And Isaac actually come here and said that if we don't win anything, then I think he should go. We haven't started well 100%, but things change in the course of the season. That's why I say we should wait. I want Arsenal to win. The board won't sack him like at this particular point. So I also understand Arsenal fans that don't want to have the conversation because they feel that no matter what they say, nothing's actually going to change between now and the end of the season. So I do get it. I do understand that perspective because again,
Sorry, can I ask you a question?
Of course, you can, bruv.
Have you not had your worst start in the Premier League in history? Apparently, I've heard that you guys have had. Is that true?
That I think it is true. Yes.
Yeah. So you've had your worst start in the Premier history, like ever.
Yes.
And yet you're only 4 points behind them.
Yeah.
How is that even possible? How is that even possible?
No, that's crazy, man.
How on earth is that even possible, Terry?
Do you want to know why it's possible? Because it's so early in the season. And I'll give you an example. We're only 4 points behind them. Yes, and you're saying that's not a massive gap, correct?
Yeah, it's not a massive gap.
Would you say 6 points is a massive gap?
6 points.
So we're 4 points behind them. You're saying it's not a massive gap. If it was 6 points, would you say it's a massive gap?
Not really.
Not really. Okay. So Arsenal are only 6 points worse off than they were last season. So the point I'm making is it's so early in the campaign that it's our worst start, yes, but there hasn't been enough time to accumulate an absolute vat of points. Now, we've all said Arsenal have had a terrible start this season compared to the last couple of years. There's no doubt, and they've been ridiculed and they've been ripped apart. But the only reason is that Arsenal are definitely 4 points better than Man United in reality in terms of performances in the last 2 to 3 years. They've started the season off poorly as well, but Man United have been poor for an 18-month period. That, of course, is going to be used as a tool to beat Arteta over the head with. But at the same time, it's so early in the campaign still. We've still got three quarters of the campaign to go. And if that was to multiply itself over, if they finished 16 points ahead of us by the end of the season, you would all say that's a big gap. So they're tracking towards being 16 points ahead of us at the end of the season. That's a massive gap. That's a huge differential in league football. So I do get the point, and I've bantered it as well. I've done it all week on Straight Facts. But in reality, I still think them and Chelsea, Man City and Liverpool, I do think they are a much better team than Man United have demonstrated so far. So I do get your point, but I wouldn't sort of, if I was debating this properly, having a real life debate, I wouldn't sort of be nailing my argument to that view personally.
Can I also just say is that the club are in a win-win situation because, like, we either keep Arteta and he will eventually win something. I do think it is a matter of when, or they sack Arteta and they get someone in that's better than Arteta, and the squad's not exactly going to leave because the squad are down to long-term contracts. So I do think we are in a win-win situation.
Is Saliba down to a long-year deal, bro?
He is. He's
So
got 3 years.
I'm just saying.
He's got 3 years, Sam.
I get where you're coming from with that point, Matt. I do. However, this is where I think Arsenal fans have got to stop thinking purely about Arteta and their club. Yes, you could wait another 3 years and then eventually win something. But what if you bring Alonso in the summer and then go on to win back-to-back Premier League titles? Trust me, if that happens, most of you won't even think about Arteta anymore. You'll remember him and go, I like how he rebuilt us, but you'll forget. You know, like when you have a player leave and you're gutted and then the new signing comes in and kills it, you're like, don't care anymore. Any young man who had that heart broken by a woman, as soon as the next lady comes into his life that he loves, you forget. In fairness, when you get to my age, I even forget what some of my younger girlfriends when I was younger looked like. I remember them, but I don't really remember what they look like or even sound like anymore. You forget about these things. So you've got to think more about your club. I'm gonna